Welcome to the World United. Welcome to the World United.
Speaker Neil THRUSSEL, who is the co-founder of the Shin Tao. His topic today is love, the greatest spiritual lesson you will ever learn. Neil is the 3-time international best-selling author, personal growth transformationalist, and co-founder of the Shin Tao, Shin Heart Tao, the Way philosophy. Neil firmly believes love is the catalyst that will transform your life. Love for yourself and love for others. Thank you, Neil, for being here with us today.
Thank you. And I just want to say I'm really excited to be part of the Third World Parliament on Spirituality. And before I start my talk, I'd like to start it off with a disclaimer. So don't believe anything I say, especially about love, because my experience is rather limited. I've only been married to the same woman for 35.5 years. I don't know what it's like to love a child born from the fruit of my loins. I don't know what it's like to love a person of the same sex. I don't know what it's like to love another man's child, or even a second or a third wife. I only know what love is from my experiences. So if you indulge in me, I can share with you my own personal experiences on love. And I personally think they're real good, but that's just my humble and jaded opinion. So, what is love? Well, the crazy part is the Oxford Dictionary defines love. I got to read this exactly. This is a really complicated definition. The Oxford Dictionary defines love, and it's actually pretty lame, an intense feeling of deep appreciation. That's how they describe love, an intense feeling of deep appreciation. Yet, that's hardly anything about love. But thank God for the Greeks. Thank God for the philosophers that they came up with that there's 8 types of love. So at least somebody put some effort into it other than the Oxford Dictionary. And they came up with that there's eros, the erotic love. So that's the naughty kind of love, the sexual kind. And there's the affectionate love. The love that we have is in friendship. And there's familiar love. That's the love that we have with family. And then there's ludus, which is the playful love. And then there's the crazy one called the obsessive love, which is an imbalance between eros and ludus love, or playful love. It's just an imbalance. Then there's self-love, which is, we can see it on many political stages right now where politicians are so full of themselves and very narcissistic. And then we have a selfish love, a love that it's all about me. Sorry, that's back. That's back to the narcissistic love. I meant to say the selfless love, the agape, the part of us that it's the highest form. And it's part of that, it's one of the hardest to stay and achieve to. And then we have the enduring love, which is when you see a married couple that have been married together for 60 years and they look at each other from across the room and you just melt because you know it's like it's there. You can cut it with a knife. And I personally go, oh, I want that when I'm their age. So selfless love is where the spiritual lessons in the world really start to work on, really connect. When we're born, what we know about love is the objects. We know in order to tell our parents we love them, we get objects or we get things. So we don't really know what love is because it's our frame of mind is not quite developed. So it's very immature. We have, as a young baby, we have a heart open space, but society can lead us to close it, to lead us to shut down from this place of love, which unfortunately is a terrible, terrible, terrible thing. Love is I'm just trying to find the right word here. Love is something, it's a basic physical need. We want to be loved. We need to be loved. And when it's withheld from us or not given to us or we don't get it, it actually affects our development. It affects how we can interact with others. It affects how we see the world. And when his love is given to us and shared and we embrace it from a healthy place, that also affects our mentality, our psyche, our ability to deal with the world. Like when a baby is not held and given love at a beginning stages of their life, it can and it does harm them in the long term. When a baby is freely and easily given love and felt to the world is a safe and a compassionate place to be in, their development is out of this world. It is just beautiful. And yet, for a spiritual practice, love is one of the hardest and most profound spiritual practices we can take upon. Right now, I will use my brothers in the United States. Right now, there is many people divided over partisan lines. And partisan lines, everyone has them, everyone needs them. But we need to come back to this place of love, joy, and happiness from the place of love. Those that are doing on either side negative things into their country, to the world, have lost this ability, have lost this gift of love to themselves and to another. And they've only see the world from their point of view. Love is what's needed to heal that divide. Love is a tough lesson and a tough pill to swallow. My mother smoked and she had a heart attack. And when she had the heart attack, because of her smoking, she had hardening of all her arteries and her kidneys shut down. And so she was forced onto dialysis. So my mother spent 3 times a week on kidney dialysis. And she was young. She was 60 at the time, and she decided that life was not worth living, so she wanted to come off dialysis. I, as a practitioner of love, am now faced with a choice. Do I love my mom enough to let her go? Or do I love myself more that I wanted and needed my mother no matter what? The lesson is it hurt. But I allowed my mother, I shouldn't say allowed, we honored my mother, her journey. And my mother breathed her last breaths with the family around. Spiritual journey. The spiritual path, love, is the hardest journey that you will ever earn. True love, true unconditional love comes at a cost of having to embrace the adversaries, the challenges in your life. As a second story, we went camping with a friend and he brought his son-in-law. And his daughter son-in-law, where his daughter was there with him. His son-in-law and his daughter, they were camping. On the Monday, in a drug-induced state, his son-in-law killed him. So now we're faced with a choice of two people. One, we love them both, but because one did a horrific act, how do you not love them when you truly embrace love as a spiritual practice? When you truly embrace that love is the answer. So I had to learn to love John even deeper for who he was and for the mistakes that he had done. And I had to learn to forgive John for who he was. And I had to love my friend who had passed for who he was and for what the lessons he was giving me. And I had to be thankful for the lessons because it allowed me to truly understand and grow in what love is. And it is only through love. Unfortunately, we only learn how the depth of our love comes and how deep it is when we are faced with the loss. Our first boyfriend, our first girlfriend, back to grade school, when we were broken up with our first person that we ever thought we were in love with. We broke up with them. The lessons were hard, but that showed us what expressive what love was. The first time we lost a person in our life, the first funeral that we ever attended, whatever age that was, the first pet. It is through, unfortunately, back to it's when we lose that our capacity to love, our recognition of our capacity to love increases, is our capacity to love grows through our own adversary and the experience and willingness to, despite our hardships, despite the obstacles in front of us, to allow ourselves to move forward and continue to love in spite of what is in front of us, to be open to love. In spite of your behavior or my behavior, someone will still love me and appreciate me. In spite of my political views, someone will love and still appreciate me. In spite or with, for being unconditional and absolutely heart open. I have no idea. I forgot to set a timer. What kind of time I am left with, Lauralee?
If you just finish up your closing comments, that would be wonderful.
Okay, and I would love to leave you with, no matter what your dreams, you are worthy of all your dreams and I ask you to embrace all adversary, all the obstacles in your life, all the bumps from a place of love, compassion, and heart open, and recognize and honor it's here for you as a lesson and not to you. And with that, you're loved.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you, Neil, for sharing with us in this space of opening our heart into the understandings of love. I'm going to share this certificate of appreciation with you. The World United proudly presents Neil THRUSSEL for being an esteemed presenter in the 3rd edition of the World Parliament on Spirituality 2000.